62. I'm doing a bit of a special thing today. I'm playing a seminar by a bloke called Mark Passio, who, well, I'll get into him shortly. And it's about a 9-hour seminar, so I'm not going to do it all in one hit. I'm going to play the first hour or so today. And sorry, just check over and see if things are working. Yes, something's happening. So we're live in Twitch rather. Should be live on YouTube. Yep, we're live on YouTube. Maybe Kick. Let's have a look. See how Kick's going. Yep, Kick's going. Hello, folks. What about Rumbel? That's the thing. Rumbel is Rumbel happening? Doesn't look like it. Anyway, Mark Passio was a hang about. Yes, Rumbel's happening too. Howdy to all again. And well, Mark Passio is a well. I'll go through his. He has a website called What on Earth is Happening, and I'll just put through his bio to start with. I'll just read that out, and we'll see how we go from there. Right. Mark Passio is an artist, independent researcher, public speaker, internet talk show host, documentary filmmaker, technology seminar instructor, conference organizer, lead vocalist, and a freedom activist from Philadelphia, PA. Mark has undertaken the task of assembling a vast amount of research in areas metaphysics, occultism, spirituality, symbology, and consciousness studies. In 2007, Mark began presenting the information in the form of presentation series, What on Earth is Happening? The intention of bringing this implication to the body of knowledge to the greater public awareness. Mark has launched his own website in 2008 at whatonearthishappening.com. In 2010, Mark began hosting his own internet radio show, also called What on Earth is Happening, which is hundreds of episodes to date. And I recommend listening to some of them, folks, because they're interesting. He recommends you to listen to them all, but of course he would. Anyway, Mark was one of the co-founders of the Free Your Mind conference, a Philadelphia-based conference on consciousness, mind control, and the occult. Mark has taught intensive live seminars, including natural law, which I thoroughly recommend you watch, guys. That's a long one too, but yeah, it's worth a watch. Streetwise spirituality, New Age BS, and demystifying the occult. Mark is the creator of and instructor of How to Become the True Media, an online technology seminar founded in Mark by 2020, which teaches best practices for communication and publishing in the digital age to aspiring content creators. Mark is the creator and for the purpose of spreading the message of natural law, truth, and freedom to the worldwide audience. In 2021, Mark released his first feature-length documentary film entitled Mark Passio and the Science of Natural Law. I haven't seen that one, anyway, which focused on the core of his teachings regarding morality and freedom. Mark is also the founding member of a local vocalist, the Philadelphia-based anarchist hardcore punk band, The Founders. Well, The Founders. Anyway, let's just stop that for a minute, if I can. Yep. And very shortly, I'm going to put on some of his music. I found the Founders website, and it's pretty hardcore. One thing you got to know about Mark Passio, he doesn't pull any punches. He's quite abusive for what he sees as lazy, fucking unorganised people, which most of us are. Most of us are the targets of what he's talking about. But if you look in the end of the idea, it's just an idea of bettering yourself. But anyway, let's try some of the music. I didn't like it much myself. You might not like it either. But let's see how that goes. And we'll chuck on a bit of hard rock, hard punk even. Well, let me just stop that. Well, that was Nation State or something like that from Mark Passio. Now, I'm just going to jump straight into Mark's presentation of shadow work. What shadow work is all about is making you the best person you can be to help fight off human slavery and become a good person. and he is seriously, seriously abusive. Don't be surprised if you, through this situation, you feel insulted, because he does that really well. But listen to the underlying message. Give it the time. I'm only going to do an hour or so or two today, and I'll just see how it goes. You know, he talks about a seminar that he does about doing the media and everything, stuff like that. That's probably real good, but at the moment I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. Not very professional, but it is what it is. But listen to the presentation of Mark Passio of shadow work, because it is rather important to make yourself a better person. Unless you're a better person like I am already, I'm already good. I'm good. Same with DK, he's right. Maybe not, but we could all do with improvement, you know. So here's the first bit of Mark Passio's shadow work seminar. Press play, and I'll shut up for a while now.
Welcome, everyone. So glad that you could all be here today.
Let me know how the volume
This
is,
is going
guys.
to be a profoundly important seminar. I can say that with confidence. This is something that I've been wanting to do for several years, and finally this year put it all together and have collected a great amount of research, and finally here for the first time today, and I am going to be presenting my own personal methodology for the shadow work process. So I want to thank all the students who enrolled, and I want to say that I hope you all receive maximum value from what I'm going to share in this seminar here today. Let's get started. Of course, this is the shadow work seminar. It will be going all day until 10 p.m. this evening, East Coast time. So let's jump in for the introduction to this type of material. So I'm going to be presenting this in 3 basic sections, preceded by my usual caveats at the beginning, introduction and warnings. So let's go through some basic caveats before we jump into section 1. So what is this seminar? For people who may be watching online later after I release this publicly, people may have heard the term shadow work but not really deeply understood its meaning or what it entails. So in today's seminar, I will deliver an in-depth and eye-opening explanation of what true spiritual work is. Shadow work is true spiritual work upon the self to improve yourself as an individual and to make the effort to improve our society as a whole, our civilization as a whole. So I'll be explaining what this true spiritual work is, what it entails, and most importantly, how to do it. I will take the attendees and viewers of this seminar through a step-by-step process of self-improvement, detailing each stage of that process and providing examples and specific methodologies. So that's what this seminar is going to be. It's essentially a workshop. And again, the students will receive the value that they bring to the table when it comes to paying attention, showing up in full presence and in full learning mode, and really deeply making an effort to conceptually understand what I'm going to present and then later apply it. This will not be a New Age variant of shadow work. Contrary to the New Age so-called ideas of shadow work, I will show my audience that real shadow work has no shortcuts. It does not involve any spiritual bypassing, and that it often contains painful processes which may not be skirted or skipped. Hence why real shadow work is so unpopular. Most people don't know what it is. Most people don't know how to do it. Most people don't want to learn what it is and don't want to do it because it is not fun. It is a very introspective, painstaking process that drudges up all kinds of emotional problems and issues and forces us to come face to face with the things we don't like about ourselves. That's why it's so unpopular. My personal AAA approach to shadow work will be outlined in detail in this seminar for the very first time. I've talked about it, but I've never actually presented all of the steps involved and how to go about doing it and what types of questions to ask yourself while you're doing this type of work. So we're going to be doing all of that, taking you through my AAA method, and we'll see what that stands for in a little while. I hope to leave my students today, and whoever's watching this online later, with an expanded understanding of what it means to be truly awake and doing the great work. Because when you really engage the process of shadow work, you awaken yourself and you self-actualize. You activate yourself to go out into the world and do the one great work of ending human slavery on this planet. Some more caveats. There's nothing new under the sun. This is not any revelatory, groundbreaking, earth-shattering information that is brand new. Everybody goes, oh, Passio talks about things that, hey, they've been out there for thousands of years. No kidding. I mean, it's unbelievable that people really don't hear what I've said since day one. I am an aggregator of information. I take an integral approach to spirituality and shadow work. And I'm not making any bones about it that there's nothing new here. As the ancient saying goes, there's nothing new under the sun. And for people that don't know what that means, coming out of that saying came out of just every mystical tradition and secret society that has ever existed. It means the truth has always been here. It is objective. It is part of nature. It is eternal. It can never really truly be destroyed. It has always been here. It always will be here. And there's nothing new about it. All I can do as a presenter, as a researcher and a presenter, is I can present the truth as I have come to discover it in a personalized framework with my particular styles and aesthetics applied. That's it. That's all I can do as a presenter. So for people saying, I want something new, go watch the news and then you'll hear something new. Maybe, right? This isn't nightly news broadcast. This isn't some episode of some TV show. So if you want something new and that's your drug, oh, it's got to be brand new, something I've never heard before, go to some improv comedy night and you'll hear what they come up with off the top of their head. For serious students, they know there's nothing new. And they're just going to hear my unique take upon this type of a topic. Okay? This seminar is about true spirituality and is not political whatsoever. So if anybody's coming at this from any kind of a political perspective, number one, you're in the wrong place. Number two, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Number three, you don't really understand what it is that I do or that I'm even asking of my students. Because this is a spiritual presentation. It has nothing to do with politics or government, other than those things should basically be destroyed from the face of the earth forever because they constitute slavery. I am not a member of any political party. All of them can, take a flying leap off of a bridge and land in water and drown, as far as I'm concerned. I think it's some of the lowest brow base consciousness that exists is politics and government. It's basically the kind of people that are causing all the problems in the world, not solving them. Because only two things solve problems. Philosophy and technology solve problems. Government doesn't solve any problems. Politics doesn't solve any problems. Authority doesn't solve any problems. They are the problem. I do not ideologically align with any political party. I am not an advocate of left-wing or right-wing politics. I am an advocate of moral spirituality. And I mean objective moral spirituality, not religious morality. We'll get into the difference between those two things later. I completely reject the belief in the idea of human so-called authority and all forms of government, because these ideologies are based entirely in coercion and violence. In other words, immorality. And government and authority constitutes human slavery. And if you don't understand that, again, clearly you haven't paid attention to my work, and you would need to really understand what I'm going to be talking about here today. And I want to see all forms of slavery totally abolished. If you want to categorize me under one banner, under one term, I'm an abolitionist. I know that slavery is immoral and violent, and I want to see slavery abolished from the earth forever. And that means abolishing all forms of government, because government is slavery. And that's an eternal truth. Get as offended as you want. It will still not ever make the statement untrue. I embrace and teach the principles of objective morality and natural law, which are the moral laws of creation and the creator of the universe. The problems of our world are not a matter of left versus right politics. The problems of our world are a matter of right versus wrong when it comes to objective morality. And once again, these are sort of prerequisites for this class, for this seminar. If you don't understand this, you probably want to go back and pay attention to my earlier teachings and my earlier work. Why do I do this type of work? Because I certainly don't make a lot of money doing this. I live in a comfortable home and lead a pretty meager lifestyle. I drive a car that's a 2006, that's not any kind of a big vehicle. I have a mortgage like most other people, and I worry about making enough to even keep my home, quite frankly. People think, oh, you're living some extravagant lifestyle. You have no idea what's really taking place as far as the sacrifice that I've made to do this work. And I've done it at the highest level. And you can say that's arrogant. You could say that's tooting your own horn. I really don't give a damn what people think regarding that. I know the work that I've done, and I know it's some of the highest spiritual level work that's been put out into this world. And one of the reasons that I know that is because so few people are even considering or talking about any of these ideas, because they're all still occulted and hidden. So I don't present information like this to be liked, because it's not going to get you very well liked when you tell people that they're ignoring their inadequacies and they're ignoring things that they should be paying attention to improve themselves. You're not going to get a whole lot of love from that, right? Some people will respect you for saying it. Most people absolutely reject it and hate the messenger. I don't do it to be popular, because again, where's my platform? People who blow smoke up people's asses have millions and millions and millions of followers. I don't even have like 200,000 followers on YouTube, like 140,000 or something like that. It's a piss in a pot. Okay? So I certainly don't do this to be popular. I don't do this to make money. I don't do this to make friends, because again, it's going to get you very little of any of those things. I speak publicly and present seminars like this because I personally recognize, in the crisis of overwhelming ignorance and deception in which we all currently live, and which constitutes slavery, I have a personal moral obligation to communicate what I have come to know and what I know to be taking place in our world. And you know what, folks? It's considerable. My knowledge is considerable. I don't go by this new age bullshit of I only know that I know nothing. This is nonsense. I know quite a damn bit. And that was hard-earned, hard-won knowledge. And I don't take that lightly. It's one of the things, I'll tell people this, it's one of the things that I wake up with an attitude of gratitude about. I'm sort of depressed about the state of the world, about where other people are, about what people want to actually talk about and think solutions are. Those things depress me every day. You want to know the one thing that doesn't depress me and what I wake up feeling so thankful to all of creation for? That I'm not a fucking idiot like that, quite frankly. And that I have set the bar very high for my work. Some people appreciate that. Many don't. Many disagree. They could disagree all they want. It's still true. And if people really, truly understand spirituality and truly learn shadow work, they'll understand that the work that I put forward is some of the top tier work in the world. So I don't go by this nonsense of never say what's true about yourself. Okay? I don't make these claims, oh, I know nothing. I know quite a damn bit, and that's why I'm sharing what I know. And I share what I know in order to help other people to understand it as well, because I want to level the playing field with knowledge. That's how we become not enslaved anymore. Knowledge is required to defeat tyranny and slavery. So I want people to understand this knowledge so that they can take action upon it and do something about the condition of our world. That's why I do what I do, folks. So when it comes to doing what is right, moral right is right, even if everyone is against it in the whole godless world. And wrong is wrong, even if everyone is for it in this entirely, largely godless world. So right and wrong don't really change. True objective right and wrong don't change. And that's why I do this work. Because that's what my commitment is to. It's to truth and to what is right. It's not to human beings. And again, things are going to be intense today. Okay? And I'll deliver it at an even keel, but with intensity. Because that's what's lacking in this whole community. Passion, intensity. Somebody just saying it outright how it is. So, this particular seminar is not like my other work, which talks about external factors like symbolism and mind control techniques and psyops, etc., so forth and so on. You know, Satanism, the occult, secret societies, occult traditions. This is studying things and events and things in our world and groups of people. This seminar directly applies to you as an individual, as a being, and as a form of consciousness in the universe. Now, that's different than previous work. And that's why most people hate my current work. They don't like it at all. They don't want any part of it. Okay? They like my old work, which we'll talk about in a moment. Today, in this seminar, this information that I'm going to present is entirely about you changing yourself. And that's one of the most difficult things to hear, and that's one of the most difficult things to say to somebody else, because you know most people are going to have objections to changing themselves in certain ways and hearing how that is to be accomplished. And I have changed myself in these ways. So it's the idea that people who live in glass houses should not throw stones. Be certain of that. I don't live in the glass house. So I'm going to toss some stones your way today, folks. And if that offends you, get as offended as you want. I'm not here not to offend people. I'm here to tell people harsh truths. So much of the information I have explored in my work in the past is about the state of our world, who is controlling it, and the way that they manipulate the consciousness of the human masses. And therefore, a lot of people are very interested in that. They'll listen attentively. They'll be like, oh, it's so great that you're talking about this stuff. And then when I start converting to, you know what? You have to change in a certain way in how you think, in how you feel, in how you behave in the world. Then everybody's like, whoa, I'm out. You're telling me to do something different with my life, my lifestyle? I got to change myself. I have to change my thoughts. I have to change my behaviors. Yeah! Yeah, that's exactly correct. That's exactly what I'm saying. So if you're not ready to hear that, you should just check out now. And you know what? I run the risk of alienating people, of not having them listen. Oh well. You're not going to get any value out of this work unless you're ready to listen anyway. If you're not ready to listen, there's nothing that can be done. So, in contrast today, most of what I'm going to say in this seminar is going to apply directly to you, directly to your life, directly to your thoughts, directly to your behaviors. The attendees and viewers of this seminar. That is what may make much of it very difficult for most people to hear. And if that's the case, so be it. Then that's your ego reaction to it. Then you're making it difficult on yourself and on the world to change. It's the kind of people who say they want change, and when someone tells them what's required to accomplish that manifestation, they say, I want no part of it. I want to keep doing what I'm doing and expect a different result. Well, that's called total friggin' insanity. You have to change your thoughts and behaviors to get a different manifested result in reality. So this brings us to the concept of old Passio versus new Passio. For people that know about or know my old work versus what I transitioned my work to over the last several years. See, most people love old Passio. Many people loved my earliest work because it discussed the world control system, mind manipulation techniques, occult symbolism, etc., so forth and so on, as I've already said. Such things largely place focus on external factors. You're looking at something outside of yourself that's operating in the world. And people were much more willing to accept such information because it did not focus intensely enough on the personal responsibility to change one's own thoughts and behavior, or the individual's responsibility to get involved personally in the war for human freedom. My earliest work didn't focus as intensely upon that. That's why people say, I hear it all the time, all over social media, all over the internet. You don't want to listen to his later stuff. He's yelling at people. He's angry. He's nasty. He's cursing. He's saying mean things. That's because look at what happened in the world, folks. You want to stay focused on external factors. You don't want to change your own thoughts and behaviors. Look at what just happened. Look at the whole world was shut down as just an example of what the real controllers and rulers of this whole domain can do. They just came out in the open and said, we're going to shut the whole damn world down at our discretion. And they did it like that. They perpetrated a fucking hoax, and they shut the entire world down, destroyed people's lives, destroyed people's business, created the largest wealth transfer to the wealthiest people in the world from the poorest people in the world, and people stayed there and took it up the rear end. And I'm supposed to just be like, oh, well, you know, people didn't want to hear it, they didn't want to change. No, I'm going to get... The velvet glove came off and the iron gauntlet went on. And I'm going to punch down on people because, once again, I've made these changes to myself. I'm not the issue or problem. So everybody goes, oh, go listen to the old stuff. That means you don't understand my work at all. Zero. Not one iota. Not one tiny little itsy bitsy bit. You don't understand my work. And that's sad. Because at this point in the game when I was presenting, I was wearing a mask. I wasn't who I really am. I wasn't letting my real personality show through. I'm presenting external stuff so that people gravitate to my work. And that's kind of disingenuous, quite frankly. And I dropped that years into my work because I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not trying to get people to like me. I need to tell them harsh, real truths that they're going to act upon, that they're going to eventually hear, it's eventually going to stick, and then they're actually going to take action on it. So people love the old stuff. They hate the new stuff. You want to know why? Because the new stuff is telling them they must truly change from an internal perspective. And God forbid we can't have that. So most people absolutely hate, detest, and despise my latest work, which is my most powerful work and my most important work, quite frankly. Not because it isn't true or important or quality work, because it is all of those things, but because it intensely emphasizes one's own personal responsibility to change their own thoughts and behavior, and highly emphasizes an individual's responsibility to quote unquote put skin in the game and get personally involved in the war for our very freedom. It places the burden, the onus, it places all the responsibility upon the individual, upon the self. And that's where most people say, this guy's crazy. I'm checking out. How many people on social media go, I haven't heard a word Passio said since like the Demystifying the Occult seminar or since the Natural Law seminar, and then I'm done with the rest of his work. Well, you know what? That's called a dunce. That's called a moron. That's called someone who's not ready to show up and be present and be in learning mode and truly listen. They think they know enough. And you know the answer is they don't know enough. They haven't engaged in the trivium. Everybody thinks they're correct. And the difference is I've actually done the work to make sure that I'm correct. There's a method of that we're going to talk about. You can make sure whether you're correct or not, if you gather enough data, which most people haven't. That's why most people talk out of their ass. They don't know what they're talking about because they haven't gathered enough grammar. They haven't gathered the data that's required. They don't have the requirements in knowledge. And I do. That's what qualifies me to deliver a seminar like this, quite frankly. That I am qualified in knowledge regarding this material. And again, this is still just introductory and caveats, and it has to be said, and it has to be said intensely like this. If you don't like it, I don't care, because this is part of the problem with reception of my work. And people have to work on their own reception, the quality of their reception. There's no problem with the transmitter, folks. There's problems with the radio receiving the transmission. Put that concept in your mind, in your mental pipe, and smoke it. Okay? You got to attenuate and attune the receiver in order to receive the message coming from the big megawatt transmitter, 1,000 megawatt. Okay? So if people say they don't like the new Passio, you know that they're a dunce and that they don't know what they're talking about. They don't even know what the new material is, what it represents, how important and powerful it is, because they want soft nonsense. They're not really in the game for freedom. They have no skin in the game. And most of all, they want to stay rigidly attached to their own ego bullshit. And they don't want to really change from an internal perspective. So approach this material like an adult or go away, quite frankly. And again, I'm saying this up front. These are my caveats. These are my warnings. So I'm telling people right up front, this may not be for you. This may not be for you. And you need to know that going in. And then maybe you'll come back to it when you're ready. This presentation, this seminar today, is for psychologically mature adults who are ready and able to hear the truth regarding how they must change in order for the human condition to change and improve for the better. The human condition changes by individuals changing themselves, and most people aren't ready for that work. That's sad, but that's true. So this seminar is not for those who appear to be adults in a bodily capacity, physically appear to be adults, but really they're not adults up here. They still have the psychological mentation of a little child putting their hands over their ears and saying, I don't want to hear this. And that's not a good person. That's someone who thinks that they're going to think and reason with their emotions instead of actually think and reason with their brain and mind. So if this image describes who you are internally from your internal emotional state, time to go. And You'll hear no other presenter say things like that to their potential viewing audience anywhere. And that's because they're just trying to reel people in for clicks and likes and popularity and better ratings. And I could give a shit, couldn't give any less of a shit about any of those things, quite frankly. I'm here to present harsh truth and to help improve the human condition for the better, not placate someone's delicate bullshit ego. Okay? So that's the difference between a real OG and a real person delivering material like this, who's coming at it from a very boots on the ground perspective, and somebody who's just would do anything for clicks and likes and attention. One of the greatest sayings ever: if you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. But if you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. This is one of my personal approaches to life in general. And truer words may have never been spoken. If you are here and you've showed up determined to learn this material, you are unstoppable. But if you're not really willing to hear what's going to be said today, there is no help for you, certainly not from me. Your discomfort does not determine what is true. My presentation style is often extremely intense and at times even combative, and you've already heard some of that. I will not sugarcoat my words or my delivery. Some people who watch this seminar may very likely become upset or angered by things I will say during this presentation. So be it. Let those emotions flow through you. That's not my problem or responsibility. It's yours. But however this presentation, with me saying the words that I'm going to say, makes you feel, that will never make this material untrue. That will never make this material untrue. Beat that concept into your brain. What I'm going to present here is true regardless of how you feel about it.
Yeah, I think I agree there.
By its very nature is belligerent because it wages war against all forms of deception and mind control. That is what telling the truth is actually doing. It's putting that information into the field of consciousness that we live within. It's a broadcast signal out into the matrix of consciousness. And when it is received properly by those other antenna picking it up, those other radios receiving that signal and possibly even rebroadcasting it for other people to hear, there's no stopping it. It becomes incredibly powerful. Telling the truth and making someone cry is better than telling a lie and making someone smile. 100%. And that's what I endeavor to do. The truth is harsh. It's ugly. It does not necessarily make us feel good. You can't reason with your emotions. You must reason with your mind. So get as offended as you want. Get as offended as you like. It's never going to make what I say today untrue. All it's going to do is keep you from receiving the information properly and helping yourself and helping the world. So only you have the power to make that eventuality not happen and make a good outcome happen, that you are going to receive it properly, you're going to get maximum benefit from this seminar, and you're going to change yourself for the better and change the world for the better. You're the only one that can make that happen. This seminar is a large tapestry of information, and it constitutes an informational tapestry that is meant to be taken in as a whole, not in little isolated sections or parts. Now, a lot of people want to break my work into more digestible chunks. I'm not saying I am opposed to that, but when it comes to a seminar like this, you really need to understand the entirety of the information, seeing it in context. If you try to do it out of that entirety and out of context, it's going to be very difficult to gain maximum benefit. So I highly recommend that you stay and watch the entire presentation in all of its parts. If you don't do that, you will most likely not recognize the patterns inherent to the information tapestry. And more likely than not, You will not come away from this seminar with an accurate understanding of these topics, and you will not receive maximum value for the resources that you, basically used and gave to be here. And I don't want to see that. I want to see everybody gain maximum value. I've said in the test calls that we did for this seminar, and I'll say it again right here. There are going to be people in this seminar that go, after hearing the entirety of it, if they stay for the whole thing and listen to the whole thing, oh my God, I can't believe I paid $70 to attend this seminar. It wasn't worth 70 cents. There are going to be many people. I know this. I hope it's not true. I hope I'm wrong. But more likely than not, there are going to be some people that are going to be like, this wasn't worth what I donated to be here. Then there are going to be other people. They're going to be like, I think $70 was reasonable. I think that's probably about what the whole thing was worth. And they stayed and they got a couple of things and they didn't really apply it later, or maybe some of them applied a little bit. And there's going to be people who say, yeah, it was worth the $70 that I donated to be there. And then there's going to be a small group of people, much smaller than the other two groups. They're going to say, oh my God. That seminar changed my entire life and my entire way of thinking about reality. And $70 was the most ridiculously lowball donation that could have ever been asked. That seminar was worth $70,000. It was worth $70 million. That are presented. This seminar is essentially an addendum to What on Earth is Happening, my main website and body of material. If you're here and you're not familiar with What on Earth is Happening, I don't know why you are here. That is ultra confusing to me, and I would not say that you're really going to, it's not best practices, let's put it that way, okay? I'm not saying you might not understand what I present, but this works best if you view it and take it in and receive it in conjunction with the prerequisite material that is in my body of work on whatonearthishappening.com. So this seminar should be absorbed by the potential student in conjunction with the information covered on my website, whatonearthishappening.com. Specifically the podcast section, obviously the video section, which has all of my formalized presentations, and my news section, which has all of my interviews that I've done on other people's platforms. While this seminar could stand on its own, certainly it could, a more complete and healed worldview will emerge in the mind of the student if the information I explore regarding shadow work is understood in relation to the information that I cover in all of my previous work. And once again, this is about
This is the link to the natural law thing. It's worth a watch too. But anyway, I'll get back to the other show. But yes, look at his site, What on Earth is Happening, and have a look.
yourself. Dedication, dedicated time, and undivided attention is required. That's what's required for a seminar like this. You don't want to be distracted. You don't want to Split your time.
Yeah, but I'm
Devote the
distracted.
time. Pay full undivided attention. Show up in learning mode, in full learning mode. This seminar requires what I call the two spiritual currencies, time and attention, because we spend our time and we pay attention. That's why they are currencies, similar to a form of money, but it's a spiritual form of the one I, mon I. Okay? That's what money actually means. The fiat form of it that's government issues is the proxy for the true spiritual form of it, time and attention. So this seminar should not be taken as a form of entertainment, because this isn't entertainment. This is true life and death information and aspects of our very being. That should not be taken lightly, and that should not be seen as, let me just see what this guy's going to say. It shouldn't be an intellectual curiosity either, okay? The students of this seminar should be interested in true self-improvement in a very serious capacity, and should therefore approach these subjects in a dedicated and focused manner. You need focus, you need motivation, you need dedication, all turned on to the maximum, and shut the excuses off. Toggle that one off. No excuses when it comes to shadow work or showing up and paying attention. No excuses should be made. If you find it difficult to hone in and focus in and pay attention and stay motivated, that's not on me, that's on you. Okay? And this is why we don't make a lot of progress in the freedom movement, and why the elite psychopaths do make progress in their dark work to enslave and manipulate. Because they show up, they're focused, they're dedicated, their attention is always on, they don't make excuses, they get it done. And the people in the freedom movement are wishy-washy. They're not spiritual warriors. They're wishy-washy people. They want comfort. They don't want to really make any sacrifices. They don't want to put skin in the game. They're not motivated. They're not dedicated. They're very, very wishy-washy. I'm talking about a lot of people in the seminar, live. You know, there's some people I wouldn't want to personally hang out with. And I certainly wouldn't want you ever have in my six. Never happen. There are people that are so wishy-washy in this movement that if any kind of actual serious combat or conflict broke out, they'd get you dead in 30 seconds. You wouldn't be dead in 60 seconds, you'd be dead in less than 30. That's how wishy-washy and weak and not driven and unfocused and undedicated people are. And that's sad, and that's what I'm trying to change. That's pathetic. And that's what I'm trying to change. I'm trying to make them into focused, motivated, dedicated people. Help them to become that. Only they can do that for themselves. Only they could put that work in. I could just show the way. The other the other thing that people always say when it comes to these big full-length seminars is, he didn't cover this or that. I would have talked about this. Well, guess what? Go make your own fucking presentation then. Go host your own seminar. Show me how it's done. Show everybody how it's done. Right? But they're the kind of people that'll complain that, oh, this was left out. This detail was left out. That detail was left out. There's going to be a ton left out. There's going to be a ton not talked about. Get over it. Nobody's going to talk about every single pertinent topic of a body of knowledge this gigantic. It's impossible. 10 hours, 12 hours, I couldn't do it in 12 years. This is a lifelong study that I'm condensing down into one day. It's compression. Believe me, it's the zip file that's been so compressed it's ready to pop. Okay? That's what you have to understand about this. One day could not possibly cover the entirety of the scope of these types of topics, nor could a week, a month, or even a year, or like I said, 12 years. Such topics require ongoing, eclectic research. That means incredibly diverse, from all kinds of fields of interest and backgrounds and topics and authors, etc. Eclectic research and investigation. And it could potentially constitute a lifetime of study and practice. This seminar is not intended to be the be-all and end-all on this topic. It is intended to merely whet the appetite of the potential students of this information so that they can pursue their own autodidactic investigations. And that's that term we're going to talk about later. Autodidactism means self-directed learning. It means that you go off in pursuit of more knowledge on your own without any prompting from any kind of a teacher or guru or whatever. Okay? You're going to do your own research into these topics so that you learn more and more and become much more informed on them and then practice them better and at a higher level. So this is an ongoing life journey that it constitutes a tiny drop in an ocean of information, and obviously it couldn't all be discussed in the course of one day. That should be painfully obvious. So all the people that go, oh, he left this out. Yeah, a lot's going to be left out and a lot's going to be covered. Okay? So this argument that because somebody didn't cover every topic regarding this material that you wanted covered, that somehow it's inadequate. Not true. I, as the teacher of this information and as the person who creates the seminar, I'm going to determine what I think is the most important topics, and those are the ones I'm going to cover. If you think it should be done better, by all means, go make your own presentation on the topic. So, those are my caveats and warnings. Let's jump into part one. There will be 3 parts in this seminar. Part 1 is called Concepts and Preparation, which will be prerequisite understanding and introductory material before getting into methods. Part 2 will be methods, and part 3 will be integration and progress. Okay, so let's jump in with part 1, concepts and preparation for shadow work. Hold on a moment. I have a
Well, hang about, folks. I'm just well, that was the first part, sort of thing, of all the stuff that's been going on so far. And I hope you've been listening to. I've been making 2 busy in the chat room doing other things, sort of thing, but it's just basically saying, you know, this is not entertainment. This is not about being comfortable. It's about trying to make the world a better place. So I think that's important. So I'll just carry on now. What do you reckon, eh? See you on the other side, if it works. Come on. Where are you? Oh, we're back. Okay, let's get it running.
A little issue going on here. I'm going to have to
Good to have
restart
issues.
the slides here. Just give me one moment. Sorry for the technical issue, folks. I have
Yeah,
a
well, you know,
glitch
you
here.
did your own media thing. How's that working for you?
Oh, okay. That looks like it
We all do
handled
that
it.
sort of shit, eh? But
See,
that's
so
part of the new
when you are
media.
prepared, you don't have to panic. You do the troubleshooting steps. You rework what needs to be reworked, and you continue, right? So
Exactly.
problem solved. And again, that's part of shadow work, believe it or not, right? Staying present, staying focused, knowing what needs to be done, understanding the requirements, and then you go and do those things, as we'll talk about. So, what is shadow work? Let's present our basic working definition that we will be following throughout the entire seminar. To provide a working definition, shadow work may be loosely defined as internal spiritual work which is conducted upon oneself to examine the most underdeveloped aspects of the self and to explore and practice techniques for self-improvement and self-actualization. real shadow work, as opposed to many quote-unquote new age variants of shadow work. Real shadow work emphasizes uncomfortable real-world action over comfortable wishful thinking, which is what is generally presented and passed off as shadow work in the New Age community, when what it really is spiritual bypassing. Stepping over necessary natural processes and steps to do the true internal transmutation and self-work to achieve real self-actualization. Meaning you're actually doing the things that you're supposed to be doing in the world. You're actually fulfilling your dharma, your work in the world. This is left out entirely in New Age so-called shadow work. And it will be that those aspects of taking real world action will be highly emphasized in this process. Real shadow work is a deep dive into occult knowledge. So once again, when people hear the word occult, they immediately have a reaction. They have some kind of a negative reaction because they've been brainwashed. So if you hear the word occult and that brings up negative feelings in you, you're brainwashed. You're still asleep. You're still mentally manipulated by the real controllers of our world. They got you. They're in your head. They're living rent-free in your head. Okay? They've told you false definitions repeatedly so much that you believe the false definition as the real one. The word occult is actually derived from the Latin adjective occultus, meaning hidden. And that is all the word means. That's all it ever has meant. That's all it ever will mean. The word occult means hidden. It does not mean evil. It does not mean dastardly. It does not mean lawless. It does not mean satanic. It means hidden. Hidden from the average everyday mind of the average everyday person. That's what we mean by it's hidden from you. And it also is hidden in the sense that most people don't understand it. It's hidden from their understanding. It evades their understanding because it has esoteric qualities to it, meaning it requires going very deeply into the topic from a point of an expanded worldview. Occultism is the study of hidden psychology and hidden laws of nature in combination. That's what if we say we're studying the body of occult knowledge, it means you're studying deep personal psychology that is generally hidden from the public. And secondly, you're studying laws of nature that are hidden from the public, that the controllers and the mind control sorcerers, the social engineers who are acting as gods because they think that they are and have the right to rule us, and acting as the slave masters over the slaves, don't want people to know. It's in their vested interest to keep this secret and hidden, and to keep it from the understanding of the average Joe and Sally. Okay? So, the study of occult knowledge involves and requires the acceptance of a much wider worldview. And we're going to talk about worldview over and over today. It's really where it begins and ends with worldview. So the study of true occult knowledge involves and requires the acceptance of a much wider worldview than that which is ordinarily taken by the everyday person. So this may not be for everybody because they haven't worked their worldview into a state of proper reception for this knowledge. Their worldview is too confined, it's too narrow, it's too closed. They don't have an open mind. They don't have receptivity to learning. Or they've been convinced none of this means anything. And they're wrong on all counts. There's a truth regarding that. It can be determined and understood and taken into oneself with the trivium method, which we're going to talk about. And there is an objective truth to this. This is not religious by its nature. I detest and want to see those things destroyed. Like, I don't believe in propagating religion, and I don't like trying to propagate belief systems. I want to propagate knowledge, objective knowledge. So, a true and serious student of occultism may be defined as one who studies all of the aspects of the self and all of the laws of nature, especially those aspects which are much more difficult to see than those which lie at the surface level, that we could easily see or easily perform scientific tests for. When we're talking about the deeply hidden, we're talking about things that lie well below the surface of the everyday person's personality and well below the surface of just things we can test with simple scientific instrumentation. We're talking about things that you have to explore at a deep and profound and fundamental worldview level. So that's what shadow work is a part of. It's a part of the body of occult knowledge. So what are the bodies of occult knowledge? In general, what does the occult comprise? The occult, if you just take that as a general term, as a piece of terminology, the occult, the knowledge of occultism, consists of two main bodies of hidden knowledge. The first is the workings of the human psyche. So again, deep personal psychology. And the second component contains the workings of the laws of nature, all of the laws of nature, both the physical laws and the spiritual laws, not just one or the other. So these are represented symbolically in different traditions through different forms of symbolism. And in the tarot tradition, which I'm presenting here on this slide, the bodies of occult knowledge are reflections of each other. There's the microcosm, which is again the self and deep hidden personal psychology. And then there's the macrocosm, the world, the universe. And those are the laws of nature, all of them, whether seen or unseen, whether physical or spiritual. So this is known as the minor arcana and the major arcana. And minor does not mean it's any less important. It just means it deals with the microcosmic world or the inner world, the small level, the monad of consciousness. Okay? Hence why it's the Fool card. And again, the Fool is not really meant to be like it's a joke. He's an idiot. He's a prankster. He's a jokester. It means naivete when entering the world until you gain enough knowledge that you're streetwise. This is about streetwise spirituality. You know, not remaining a baby, not remaining, oh, that guy said some uncomfortable words. If you're worried about that, go hear some New Age bullshit lecture. Okay, this is the high-level spiritual knowledge for the strong. And the Fool card is not really the Fool; it's the Soul card. Some people even say the term Fool even came from a mistranslation in French. Whether that's true or apocryphal is not the point. The point is the Fool is actually the Soul card, and again, that's the inner world, the soul. It's knowledge of the self and deep personal psychology. It's knowledge of how the human psyche operates, how it is motivated, how it is driven, how it could even be manipulated, and to be watchful of things like that. So that's the minor arcana, depicted here by the Fool, preparing to step off the cliff with very little resources at his disposal, going off on the spiritual journey with his spiritual assistant animal, the dog by his side. Profound symbolism in the tarot. It should absolutely be studied. And for anybody messaging me on Telegram, please don't. While I'm presenting, don't bother sending me anything. Okay? I just want to say that because it's distracting, because you're making the icon bounce on my screen. So just please don't message me while I'm presenting. It's too late to say anything. If you have problems, you have problems. I'm sorry, but you should have prepared better. So once again, you can get as mad at me as you want. It's actually on you. It's the same as shadow work. You either do the work and you're prepared, or you don't do the work and you fail. That's really what it comes down to. Okay? Continuing. The major arcana is the macrocosmic level. Okay? It's what we would perceive as the outer world, but it's still really one thing. These two things are one. Okay? But it's what we would perceive as the external reality that we are living in. And it is about ultimately knowledge of all of the laws of nature, both the physical sciences and the knowledge of universal moral law, which is natural law. So that is the knowledge of the macrocosmic level of the occult, and it is represented by the world or universe card in the tarot deck. Again, you see the reflection of the zero with the wreath around the goddess figure, okay? And you see that's the cosmic egg, the womb of creation from which all arises, from which all matter, energy, consciousness comes from. And that is depicted above the Fool's head as the zero card of the deck. That's why it's the zero card. They wanted to make that association and reflection, okay? And then you see the four pillars of the zodiac: the lion, the man, the bull, and the eagle. You get the general idea. So if we laid out the cards in the Kabbalistic tradition, if we laid the tarot cards out in the two trees, the Fool card lies at the Da'at, or hidden knowledge position of the microcosmic tree of life, and the World or Universe card lies at the Da'at position, the hidden knowledge of the macrocosmic tree. So even the layouts of the tarot cards in the Kabbalistic layouts of the two trees, which I've presented in my former work, in my previous work, are showing you the reflection that these are the bodies of occult knowledge. It's a beautiful tradition if it is studied. That's why I used it to illustrate the concept of what are the bodies of knowledge of the occult. Okay, so the minor arcana, the self and the inner psychological world, and then the major arcana, the external or laws of nature and of natural law. Now, largely what this particular seminar is going to deal with is the minor arcana. That's what we're going to be dealing with today, because shadow work is all about delving into, exploring, and making changes in the world of the self, the inner psychological world, the human psyche. So what this entire seminar is largely going to deal with is this aspect of the occult. Now, will it integrate and touch upon the wider knowledge of the macrocosmic world and natural law? Of course. They go hand in hand. As I said, they're ultimately really one thing. But the focus here is on the microcosmic aspects, the aspects of the self, obviously. Why is shadow work so important? Why is this not some like just frivolous, talk about it in passing concept? Why is this deeply, deeply critical and must be integrated if we're going to make any progress in healing ourselves or the world? In direct keeping with the natural law principle of correspondence, which is as above, so below, as within, so without. So the universe is really, or our entire civilization is a reflection of the combination of inner worlds of people. So all of the aggregate of all of the individuated consciousness within each self comprises the quality of the so-called outer world of what is going to become the human condition. So in keeping with the principle of correspondence, which is the universe is self-similar across all scales of existence, or it has simply been said generally in the Hermetic tradition and other occult traditions, as above, so below. The quality and condition of our world as a whole is directly proportional to the quality and condition of the people who comprise our world. Let's say that again. The quality and condition of the human experience as a whole is going to be directly proportional to the quality and condition of all of the individuals who comprise our civilization. That should make perfect sense. This should be deeply grokked. This should be deeply understood at a fundamental level. The law of correspondence. In other words, when we do shadow work to heal and improve ourselves, the whole condition of the entire world in which we live is going to be healed and improved in the aggregate as a result, to that extent, in proportion with that self-improvement. That's why this is so important. If we heal ourselves, the world is healed to that extent. If we improve ourselves, the world is improved to that extent. We are not separate from the human condition and the externally perceived reality in which we live, which is a shared reality. So the extent that we do shadow work to improve and heal ourselves is the extent we are going to contribute to the improvement and healing of our entire civilization and our entire species. Healing yourself is a huge part of healing the world. As a matter of fact, they are directly proportional to each other. This is the mathematical symbol in the middle for proportional to. It means that as the individual and all the individuals that comprise the world go, so goes the quality of the whole world in which we live. They are reflections of each other. That's what as above, so below means. This little equation right here on the screen, this is a mathematical equation. The individuated consciousness is proportional to the entirety of the world. As all of the individuated consciousnesses improve or do not improve, either they improve or they degrade, the quality of the whole condition of our world either improves or degrades. They're directly proportional and they can never be actually separated from each other. If you don't understand that, you really don't understand the occult at all. You don't understand the esoteric. You don't understand how the universe works. This is part of worldview healing. To understand this slide is part of healing the worldview. It's not only explaining how healing works in the aggregate to heal the species and the world condition. It's part of worldview healing itself to understand this basic equation, this basic law in nature. And again, this is why they are used as these concepts in the tarot. The soul is a reflection of the entire world and vice versa. In the aggregate, all of the souls are a reflection of the human condition. As they degrade, the human condition gets worse. As they improve, the human condition gets better. This should really be simple common sense, folks. Unfortunately, it is not, and most people do not understand it at all and have a very difficult time with it. But to understand this is to improve one's own worldview. The greatest requirement for human freedom is true goodness. So once again, this is preparatory concepts for doing shadow work later. But if you don't understand this, your worldview is completely skewed and off. And sadly, some people want to do shadow work to improve things for other areas of life, not just spiritual life, and assisting with the human condition and the great work of ending slavery and tyranny in our world. Real shadow work is about this factor, folks. You know, it's not just about, becoming a better performer or a better athlete or a better, artist or whatever. Could you do shadow work for things like that? Absolutely. That's not what this seminar is ultimately about. Could it be used for lesser things like that? Yes. But this seminar is about getting the human condition out of the state of slavery, which it is in. And if you don't understand that, again, you're totally spiritually asleep. I mean, like gone, like NPC character asleep. Okay? Like non-player character in a video game. Like, this is about getting your worldview up to the level of consciousness where you understand, hey, the people of this planet are enslaved, and that's a cosmic fucking crime. And that needs to be righted, and justice needs to be brought to that dynamic. And that's what true objective morality and true goodness is about. This isn't about being self-righteous and, projecting your form of morality. This is aligning your behavior to true and objective morality. This isn't about virtue signaling. True morality, not religious morality, not subjective morality, true objective morality under the laws of nature, which there is such a thing. And again, I'm not here to redeliver the natural law presentation. You can go back and watch that and learn it. True morality, objective morality under natural law, is completely different than religious morality. So true morality and freedom are also directly proportional to each other. This is the law of freedom. As morality increases, freedom increases. Okay? So this is reflected in natural law, the moral laws of the universe. As morality increases in the aggregate, freedom increases in the aggregate. Why is freedom declining? Because morality is declining. True objective morality, not subjective religious morality. I'll say that over and over again. I'm not talking about the morality of any religious tradition. They're all screwed up. They're all obfuscating true morality. All of them, bar none, no exception. All religions obfuscate true objective morality. If you don't understand that, you're basically an NPC who's asleep. Totally spiritually unaware. Yet this is why that worldview has to change and heal first before anything can be done. You're not going to do any healing without healing that worldview. You'll do much lesser, tiny incremental healing that isn't healing in a big way that's going to assist the world in any way. You're going to heal for your own selfish interests. And could you do that? Like I said, yeah, you could, but it's not what this seminar is about. This seminar is about healing yourself so that you could help heal the world and bring real justice, which is the natural law card in the tarot deck, justice. As morality declines, freedom declines. Therefore, it should be the aspiration for any being, not only for the students of this seminar, for any being that claims to want a greater degree of freedom in their lives, or for anyone, to perform shadow work upon themselves to become a more moral individual who is more directly involved in the current war for freedom that is before all of us. This is why someone, the potential student, should want to improve themselves, should want to do shadow work upon themselves, because they realize they're not in the fight for freedom deeply enough. They're not contributing deeply enough. They don't have enough skin in the game. They're not putting enough effort forward. They're not dedicated enough. And you want to do shadow work to improve all of those lacking qualities within yourself so that you get on the battlefield and you start contributing and start making a difference, a real difference. And you know what? That's why we're losing, because too few people are doing this. We're getting our asses beat mercilessly senseless in the war for freedom. I mean, tyranny is around every corner. If you don't see that and you don't understand it, I can't even imagine how asleep you sleepwalk through life. We're going to talk about not sleepwalking through life. Okay? So this is ultimately about becoming a better version of yourself so that you could help heal and improve our world and defeat and conquer tyranny and slavery. True morality is not the same as religious morality. Once again, one of the most important concepts I could ever possibly introduce. If you don't understand this, you are not spiritually awake. The word religion is derived from the Latin verb religare, which means to bind, to hold back, to thwart from forward progress. Let me say that again. The word religion is derived from the Latin verb religare. And yes, it is. It is not from any other word. It comes from the Latin verb religare. And that could be a binding to truth, right? You could have a reuniting and a tying together with truth. That's the only form of positive, the only positive definition and connotation of religion. In general, the word religion means a system of thought designed to hold you back and thwart your progress to the truth. So the word religare in Latin, which definitely is the etymological origin of the word religion, no other Latin word. It means to bind, to hold back, to thwart from forward progress by tying, as with a rope. Okay? It's putting a leash on your consciousness. That is what all forms of religion do. Now, when I say the word religion, you should not only think or consider big world religions, cultural religious traditions, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Islam. That is not only what I mean by religion. It is any mental, spiritual, or sociological control system based in unchallenged, erroneous, and dogmatic beliefs. And that system is specifically designed to hold back, not to improve the progress of human consciousness by preventing it from recognizing and accepting reality and truth, by receiving truth. Once again, the broadcast signal could be at 1,000,000 watts or greater. But if the antenna and receiver is somehow broken or damaged or traumatized, don't expect it to receive the truth. This is what shadow work. Shadow work is going into the radio and making that radio the best, most receptive radio it can be, and then tuning it to the truth frequency. That's one of the best ways I can allegorically or metaphorically describe shadow work. You got a busted old radio that's been traumatized and practically defeated and is barely working and bringing in a ton of fuzz, not clearly at all. And then you go in, you fix all the internal components, you get that radio whipped into great shape, it's ready to receive, and you tune that to the correct frequency, and you're off to the races. Then you're really making a dent, and you're really making progress with yourself and in healing the world. So religion can be attachment to money. Religion can be attachment to your job. Religion can be believing in authority. Religion can be total attachment to politics. Religion can be you believe that the slavery of government should just go on and on and on, and that it's not slavery, and that it's necessary and moral in any capacity, and that it's not coercion and violence. See, that's what's holding people back. Religious thought, believing in government, believing in the love of money, the obsession with money. How about religion could be I'm obsessed with comfort and control. How about that as a religion? Comfort and pleasure, not control. But yeah, hey, control is a religion. Wanting to control everything, that's a religion. Anything that's going to hold your consciousness back from pursuit, reception, and attainment of truth is religion. It's a cage for the mind, ladies and gentlemen. It's the head cage. It is not just the big religious traditions culturally. Are those religions? Yes, they are. They do the same thing. But religion as a word, as a concept, encompasses much more than just the traditional religious cultural traditions. Be aware of that and understand if I use the word religion or religious, I am not just talking about those traditions. I am talking about any system of mental control. Religion is mind control. That's it. And not for the good, for the negative. It holds you back. It thwarts your progress toward truth. And it will certainly thwart your progress toward the betterment of the self and self-actualization through shadow work. No question about it. Religion will destroy that progress.
Yeah, just thought I'd jump in there for a minute. Religion is mind control. So is government. Governmente. Same thing.
Progress. Not just thwart it, it will completely annihilate it. To illustrate how religious morality and true natural law, objective morality, are two different things, I have emphasized and made a whole separate presentation, which it's not my intent to fully go over that presentation. I just want to present this quickly. The 7 deadly sins as defined by church so-called Christianity. I call it Constantinianity or churchianity. I've given a whole 5.5-hour long presentation called Fake Ass Christians. And I gave another presentation called The Real 7 Deadly Sins, which are not here on the left. They're the ones on the right. This is what the church teaches you are sins, deadly sins. Pride, gluttony, sloth, lust, anger, jealousy, and greed, which are either forms of internal emotions, self-indulgences, or in the case of sloth, a state of inaction. When the real 7 deadly sins have a completely different qualitative aspect, even in the sound of the words. You look at pride, gluttony, sloth, lust, anger, jealousy, and greed versus murder, assault, rape, theft, trespass, coercion, deception. Those are the real 7 deadly sins. All forms of theft. Murder is the theft of life without right to do so. Assault is the theft of bodily wellness without the right to do so. Rape is the theft of someone's sexual autonomy, which no one has the right to steal. Theft is the stealing of physical property. Trespass is the theft of in-property safety, meaning when you're on your ground or your lair or in your home, in your car, no one has the right to just come in and take your safety from you in that property, in that personal space. That's trespass. Coercion, the theft of free will, which is what all government is. Government isn't suggestions. Government is commands upon a population. And that's setting up one class as the rulers and the commanders, and the other class as the slaves or the people who must obey. And that's the removal of free will. Authority is the usurping and removal of free will. If you don't understand that, once again, I actually feel pity, because you can't even grasp the concept that if I claim authority over another being, I'm saying you don't have free will to make your own decisions. You have to do what I tell you. I make decisions for you, and you must obey, or I'll conduct violence or send someone else who might be willing to conduct violence to you at my behest. That's coercion. That's what government is. That's why government's nothing but violence. And that's why it's always immoral. And it's authority is the theft of free will. It's just another way of saying coercion. And people who believe in it are bad people. They're people who are engaging in one of the true 7 deadly sins. The transgressions against natural law, violations of someone's natural rights. Deception, the final one, is theft of informed judgment through willfully lying and deceiving people. So these are the real natural law transgressions, true immoral behaviors that are violations of natural law and other beings' natural rights. Once again, they're all actions that are done to others, okay? That's why it's not called murder if you kill yourself. It's called suicide. You did that to your own vessel, your own vehicle, your own property. If you kill somebody else, you're doing it to their property. You don't assault yourself. You can conduct self-harm, but assault is something you do to somebody else that harms their physical wellness. You're not going to rape yourself, right? Rape is done to someone else. These are behaviors that are done to another being. That's why a right is an action or a behavior that does not initiate harm to another sentient being, and a wrong is a behavior which does initiate harm to another sentient being. These definitions should be self-evident and common sense everywhere in the world, and sadly they are not. They are obfuscated by religion. They are obfuscated by government. They are obfuscated by media. And even people in alternative broadcasting, they don't want to talk about the real difference between nonsensical, garbage, religious morality versus true natural law-based morality. And never the twain shall meet. They are not the same, ladies and gentlemen. They are not the same. They never will be the same. If you study the religious variant of so-called morality, you're getting a cheap knockoff. And then what people will do, because they know that's a dumb, cheap knockoff, is they throw the baby out with the bathwater and they say, oh, there's no morality, or natural law doesn't apply, or it doesn't exist. Nonsense. These are the real, true violations of morality right here on the right side. The 7 true deadly sins: murder, assault, rape, theft, trespass, coercion, and deception. And someone conducting shadow work upon themselves, the real reason they would want to improve themselves is to improve the human condition by teaching this difference between these two forms of morality. So-called morality by religion, and every religious tradition has their own insane variant and completely untrue variant. And then there's true natural law-based morality, which exists in nature and is eternal and objective and We are always working in conjunction, either with it or against it, to receive the quality of our shared human experience called the human condition. That's why you should want to conduct shadow work upon yourself, to get your head clear, to get involved in the battle, to teach true morality so that there could be a higher level of freedom and justice in our world. If you don't understand that, you're not spiritually awake. And again, the people in this seminar should understand it, should have somewhat of an understanding of the prerequisite work that I've conducted with natural law and what on earth is happening. The people listening online, if you're not familiar with those concepts, go and watch my 8.5-hour natural law presentation, natural law seminar. You can look it up under. It's available at my website, whatonearthishappening.com. Not doing shadow work is just like moving furniture on a sinking ship. You can rearrange it all day, the ship's still going to the bottom of the ocean. And this is what, people are like. They're sitting at the end of one end of the boat that's sinking, and they're all going to be going down to the bottom of the ocean, and they're saying, boy, I'm sure glad that hole isn't on our end, thinking that like they're going to be spared. When other people are frantically trying to do the work to bail out the species from sinking and destroying itself, and they're not getting any help. And then the other people think they know how reality works, and they're trying to tell the people that are actually doing the work how it works. What work do they have to show for anything? This is why I say people want to complain about my work. You earn the right to complain about my work. When you have enough work of your own and you have a body of knowledge that you've put forward that is truthful and that is objective and does work and will work. And that's what I've done. And yes, it's true. And yes, it would work. Not enough people understand it. Not enough people apply it. That's the only problem, folks. This is what I've been trying to explain to people. The problem is not me. The problem is not my work. And that's not an ego statement. If it were, I'd say my work needs significant refinement. My work's been exceptional and still is exceptional. The problem is other people don't understand. Maybe they just have low IQ. Maybe they're just too religiously inclined. Maybe they're just fucking hard-headed. And they're stubborn because they think they know better. And when it really comes to them showing what their knowledge is, you know what it always comes back? A big fat fucking goose egg. This right here. A nothing burger. Okay? So once again, people earn a right to complain about my work or, say, oh, you're way off about this, man. This is what you need to understand. Put your work out there for the whole world to see, like I have mine. That's why I've done it. I have confidence that it's correct. I don't even have confidence that it's correct. I'm assured that it is because I've applied the trivium to it, which we're going to talk about. And there's a way of knowing whether you're correct or incorrect. You don't have to just take it on faith or belief. That's just more fucking religion, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what I've just told you I'm trying to avert and destroy. I don't want belief. I don't want you to believe me about any of this stuff. I want you to know it definitively and objectively. And you can do that. That is possible. One of the profound introductory concepts here in this body of work with shadow work is that shadow work is really a part of and an integral part of and it extends and extrudes throughout the entire process of occult initiation, of which there are 5 general steps or processes, and they are as follows. So every occult tradition in the history of humanity generally applied these 5 principles or concepts, or stages, if you will. The first is stop lying. And this is, even if you have been deceived, get the grammar and follow the trivium method through to its conclusion to the point where you are reasonably certain that you're not deceived before you start putting bad information out into the world or saying the people who are putting good information out into the world are wrong, because then you're essentially engaging in deception. And we talked about that in the pre-class. And the answer to that is you conduct the trivium process to the extent that you know you're not incorrect and you know that you are correct. But stop lying. Stop propagating nonsense out into the world. And the number one place to stop doing that before you even desist and stop saying lies or deception or bad information to anybody else is you have to stop lying to yourself. Especially stop lying to yourself. You cannot tell yourself untruths, lies, make excuses, etc. if you're really going to be conducting true shadow work. You must be brutally honest with yourself. We're going to talk about that concept when we get to methods. Number 2 in the steps of occult initiation is stop dreaming. Dreaming means that you're engaging in a form of cognitive dissonance, whereas your thoughts, emotions, and actions are not in congruency with each other. Largely, this means that your behaviors are out of alignment with what you say you know and with how you feel internally in your state of emotions. If your behaviors don't align and aren't in congruency, they aren't congruent with your thoughts and your actions, then you're in an internal state of internal contradiction or cognitive dissonance with yourself. You cannot go through life sleepwalking like that. You cannot say you know something and then don't take action in the way that proves that you know it. This is the idea that to know and not to do is actually not to know. You can say you know all you want, and if you're not taking the right action to back up that knowledge, do you really have that knowledge? The answer is you do not. You're just claiming that you do. So that's stop dreaming. Don't see the world through rose-colored glasses. Don't even be black-pilled. That's a form of dreaming. Oh, nothing can be done. An infinite amount can be done. You just have to learn what it is and then do it. This is the problem with most people. They throw their hands up and they're like, oh, I don't know what can be done. What can be done about all of this? Like I said, billions of things. It could go on and on and on and on. But are you learning those techniques? Are you practicing those techniques? Are you actually doing them in your daily life? Or are you sitting back throwing your hands up saying there's nothing I can do? Which is the ultimate form of excuse making and dreaming. So you got to stop lying, especially to yourself, and you got to stop dreaming. That's living in a state of cognitive dissonance and denial about what truly can be done. And then part of resolving those things is truly learning how to think, not what to think through government indoctrination centers laughingly called schools, because that's all they are. They don't teach you how to think, they teach you what to think, and then hammer what they want you to think into your mind through all this, 150,000 hours or whatever it is, maybe less than that, 50,000 hours of compulsory schooling. And you come out not being able to think. You come out with no true critical thinking skills through the trivium. So learning how to think involves truly understanding the trivium process of truth discovery methodology. This is grammar, logic, and rhetoric, or in the ancient traditions, it was known as knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, which we are going to talk about. So if you don't learn how to think through the trivium, once again, you're just going to be one of these people who's like an NPC, walking around, sleepwalking, dreaming, and lying to themselves and other people. Number 4 in this process, and we will, when we go through the shadow work methods, we're going to aspects of all these things will be touched upon repeatedly. Number 4, live in the present moment. What is true present moment awareness? It doesn't mean you just live a fleeting life where you don't focus in on anything and you just go with whatever. It means you truly show up. If you're going to do something, you do it to the very best of your ability. Were my slides just thrown together out of nowhere? Or did I sit for months painstakingly making every single thing that I want to see on the screen as best as I can do it? And then thinking about the concepts I'm going to present while they're on the screen to the best of my ability. This is what real present moment awareness is. It's showing up in learning mode so that you're going to absorb information and take knowledge into yourself and gather the grammar that you need as a prerequisite. and you're really going to be present. Your mind isn't going to be elsewhere. How many people will take this seminar today and they're distracted? Kids are yelling. They didn't make preparations properly. They have tech problems. Oh, I got to go do this thing. I got to pay this bill or whatever. And their mind's scattered and all over the fucking place. You're not going to get any true value from this because you haven't even taught yourself how to show up yet. There are people that are in the seminar right now that aren't present. They're not there. They're somewhere else. They're somewhere else here. Here is where they're somewhere else. And you show up in a state like that, you're wasting your time. You're not making any headway. You're not making any progress. You're reverting when you do that. That's why this idea of multitasking, it's bullshit. You can't multitask. You can only focus on one thing at one time. That's it. Blanket statement. Get as offended as you want. If you don't believe that that's true, you're wrong. Multitasking is bullshit. Come and put all of your presence into what you are doing. Don't just do the thing, become the thing that you are doing while you are doing it. That's true present moment awareness. And most people have no conceptualization of it whatsoever. And then number 5 in the steps of occult tradition initiation was activate the physical body. They didn't want wimps. They didn't want wishy-washy people. They didn't want people who weren't willing to make sacrifice. They wanted tough people. They wanted physically able, tough people. You know? Like I said, there's probably 95% of people I have ever encountered, greater than that really, 98% or more of people that I've ever encountered in the freedom movement, I would never put a gun in your hand in a combat situation and say, let's fight back to back, because you get me dead. And I mean fast. Fast as fuck. You'd get me dead. And I don't intend to get dead. I intend to survive even if it comes to a physical conflagration of some kind. Because I'm a living, walking library of knowledge. I'm too important to just get dead in 30 seconds. And guess what? Most people in this movement, they'd get you dead in 30 seconds. Because they're wishy-washy, weak motherfuckers. And I don't care how you want to look at that or hear it. It's true anyway. You got to build the physical body. You got to be healthy. You got to understand nutrition. You got to do some exercise. You got to know how to defend yourself. If you don't know how to do those things, if you're not doing those things, you're just letting one important aspect of real spirituality, the vehicle for the consciousness, go by the wayside. And you ain't doing anybody any favors, least of all yourself. So we'll talk about all of these things in the shadow work methods and practice.
Well, folks, yeah, that was the first bit of time. Yeah, DK wants to chat sort of thing, so I want to chat with DK and all. So, DK, if you're watching, listening, or whatever, let's get Discord happening. So, DK will be here shortly, I imagine. In the meantime, well, where's me beer? It's a lot to take in, and I know he rambles on a bit, but, you know, it's all about bettering yourself. Oh, better type in DK's chat. Yeah. Here now. All right. Okay, well, where's fucking here now? No, you're not. Discord? Can't hear you. Oh, there you go. It's a lot to take in. I know he rambles on a bit, but, you know.
No, I've got everyone on my chat going, oh, he's fucking full of shit, it's Kabbalistic, fucking, and the thing is,
Yeah.
I kind of actually think that about most of it myself.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Right. Camera's not going to work because I've got the camera happening over there.
You know, all good, don't worry. No
Yeah.
stress.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's working. Yeah.
But,
Well,
you know, my chat's like, what the fuck is this?
Well, it's
and let me point out one thing that actually pissed me off
yeah,
that I pointed out already.
yeah.
He keeps saying natural law, and he spells it L-A-W.
Well, how do
And I
you?
see L-A-W is man-made laws.
Yeah,
See, natural law is L-O-R-E. It's natural
law. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and he
Back in a moment.
all the
Yep.
shit, he was typing natural law. Everything was saying L-A-W, natural law. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, serious, I was actually fucked off about it, man.
Yeah. Well, that actually makes perfect sense, really. Because it's more than a typo, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's done on purpose, and he keeps showing it on screen. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Let's see if I can change it. Oh, that's better. Maybe that way.
You have to
There we
turn
go.
off your camera on OBS, wait
No,
about
no,
30
no.
seconds, and then jump on if you want to go on.
No, I got
Discord.
I got the main camera on the main screen now. Anyway, I've worked
Right,
it out.
my
to do it.
camera's on now. I'm pretty enough. Fuck.
Yeah, fucking I'm gorgeous. Just look at me. Well, maybe don't.
I'm flabbergasted. Just look at me.
Cheers, Devon.
You villain, motherfucker.
Well, yeah, that was all I expected to be because, like, it took me days to watch the original.
Don't get me wrong. It started off all right. But then he just tries to do this whole fucking word salad, which is all like...
He does that. But... Semi-spirituality thing.
Yeah. As if, like, because I was on this side of the occult, I've left that. Now on this side of the occult.
Yeah.
I still hate everything else.
Yeah.
But only the occult matters. Yeah.
Well, I've realised.
It just, like, it puts me off that he couldn't. And that isn't the one that I watched. The one I watched was him actually standing up and speaking live.
Oh, right.
That was the actual 9-hour one I was meaning. This is different to the one I thought.
No, this is the one he did.
Yeah, so I played a different one than this one.
Yeah, this is the online one. It was a paid prescription thing. You could pay, I don't know how much it wants to join in and fucking. But then he fucking didn't listen to the people chatting anyway. It wasn't interactive or anyway. But that's it. That's his style.
That sort of, that's what I mean. It's like he is actually still as selfish and narcissistic as he always was. And he's trying to tell everyone else how to be better while he's still a cunt. Saying he doesn't care about money. Give me money. I'm not going to fucking listen to you. I'm going to tell you how to live, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
See, I still think he's a piece of shit, man. Like, honestly, I don't like Passio at all.
Yeah.
But when I watch his live stand-up talk, the one thing that stuck in my head was, like, who was, like, and it was, like, at the end of his stand-up talk, like,
yeah.
And in the last half an hour, last hour of it, was when he was going on about who was more responsible for any damage caused to other people or anything.
That's right.
The person giving the orders or the order followers.
Yeah. The last
and that is the one thing that stuck in my head. And it's like, it's always the order followers.
Yeah, the last.
Someone can tell you what to do. You get to decide if you're going to do it or not.
Yeah. Well, the last half of the
these people, don't kill all these people because I don't like them.
Yeah, that's okay.
Right, all these people because you said so. But how about bang? There's one person.
Yeah.
Rather than go kill all these people, there's one person gone. Sweet.
No, but for whatever it's worth, sort of, it's case of like in the last half of the fucking bizzo, and we're not anywhere near that yet. It becomes he's very abusive and he's fucking stuff like that, but there is some good Easter eggs in there, if you know what I mean, about just sorting your own problems out, sort of thing.
Honestly, listening to him prattle on like he fucking knows everything. annoys the fuck out of me.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to listen to.
Almost
I admit.
everything he says is shit that I know, shit I could say, other than when he is comparing the 7 sins to the 7 immoralities.
Yeah.
I can actually talked about that before.
Well, you have, but a lot of the viewing audience may not have.
Most of my audience is quite Christian, by the way.
Yeah, that's good.
That's why they're fucking hating all the spiritual side of all the shit that he's talking about.
Yeah, but I'm learning this more towards.
Actually Christian.
I'm learning this more to my audience than yours.
I mean, you know that I'm not Christian. I believe in God, but I fucking hate organized religions.
Yeah. And I liked what he said about religion, actually. The fact of it's not just the 4 big fucking religions. It's, religion of auto followers and shit like that.
Religions?
Hey? 4?
All big religions?
Yeah. Christianity, fucking Hindu, Muslims, and Judaism.
Hindu. Okay. I always think of the 3 Abrahamic, Abrahamic religions. I keep forgetting about like the Hindu, Sikhs.
Oh, they're not Abrahamic, are they? No. No. Well, that's a religion anyway.
The Abrahamic religions were all basically created by the Jews, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I know everyone who's Christian is going to hate me for that.
No, they won't, mate. I don't think anyone hates it, do they?
Religions, including Muslim, Judaism, and Christianity were all created by Jews.
Yeah. Exactly.
Why do you think so many people like Judeo-Christian and side with the Jews and are fucking behind is... sorry, you're on YouTube. Gotta be careful.
Yeah. It's a case of, well, as usual, it's a case of follow the money where that situation going, isn't it?
Exactly. Always follow the money.
I don't,
mate. If you can control everyone and tell them to give you 10% of their pay so that you'll have God's favour,
right.
That's where taxation first started.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, well, if we can do it to all the people who follow us, how do we get money off the rest of them?
Yeah. Oh, well, there's ways.
See, with religion, it's just called a tithe. Tithe. So you tithe 10%, and you're supposed to have good favour with your God. Yeah,
well, and didn't it say like religion means like binding someone sort of thing? Yeah, binding
I
to
don't know
their...
if it was me who said that, but someone in my chat actually said something like that.
I think Passio said it in his chat there somewhere.
Oh, Passio said it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. He said,
that's the same as
religion is binding. And I put in a comment, because he was always saying it's like mind control, and that's what government means. And I said, governmente, mind control.
Government means govern the mind.
Yeah.
Control of the mind. Yeah.
And religion does the same thing.
And mortgages are death grip. Yeah, see, if you actually study language, you start realizing that everything they're trying to tell you is normal really isn't.
I have a hard enough time with English.
My dad was a teacher before he was an ambulance officer.
Yeah.
So as a kid, he was like, because I was smart as a kid. He started trying to teach me like the etymology and like the origins of words and where they came from.
And that's why.
This is why I actually look into a lot of it.
And this is why
everything they say, almost everything they say is designed to make it look, as passive as possible.
Yeah.
When it's some of the most evil things around.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, then they'll just go back to dictionaries and like Wikipedia and go and start changing the definitions of those words. I was like, no, it doesn't mean that anymore. Now it means this. So, no, it actually really doesn't. I think you're right, Dan. It actually doesn't.
No.
Holy shit. I just got invited to another voice chat on Telegram. Holy crap.
Well, anyway, I'm about to wrap up the show for today. I reckon I'll hook in and do the next bit tomorrow, sort of thing, because
you're gonna do it daily.
Oh, maybe.
How long is that one?
Well, let's see. It's 9 hours.
Oh, it is 9. Okay,
9 hours, and
it is basically his live tour.
Yeah.
And he's just redone it again, and now making people online pay for it.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
But I didn't pay for it. But I am actually considering buying the Ark. You know, his fucking Ark with all these books and things that he's got. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I'm not donating any dollars to that motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I'm not really sure yet. You know.
Honestly, it's like he doesn't say enough that I like or agree with for me to fucking hand over dollars to read a book with 3/4 of it I don't agree with it anyway.
Now, well, it's like, apparently
I'm just not wasting money on it.
Apparently it's like a couple of terabytes of lots of different books and things like that. Books that he's read and stuff like that and all that sort of. But I don't know yet. I haven't made a decision, and that doesn't really matter anyway. But
go and check. Go and see if you can find his like. Because I'm sure it's roughly the same, like 8 to 9 hour live talk.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's on YouTube or you'll have to check BitChute. But he's got an 8 to 9 hour. Like he's standing live in front of a crowd, but the camera's only aimed at him, sort of thing. So it's like stand up and he's talking, and I got a funny feeling he's pretty much doing that, just about word for word, and charging people online to repeat himself.
Yeah. Well, he's a businessman.
Which is, like, as far as I'm considered, disgusting. When right at the start he said he's not about money, he's not doing this for money.
Yeah.
But pay me to listen to me.
Yeah. But what the thing is,
you don't. Piece of shit. And that motherfucker's still satanic as fuck.
You're probably right.
Really, I actually don't like him. I don't trust him at all.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, out of the 9-hour thing, there was only a couple of bits that stuck in my head that were worth paying attention to.
Yeah, well,
the rest is like, fuck, he's just making mouth noises.
Okay, well, I'm going to play it all anyway, and have a conversation anyway, because that's what I'm doing.
You should, we should actually be live while you play it.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. It should only be an hour each.
Yeah, but then Mark Passio would never get a word in. It all be you. I heard your show earlier today, mate. The guy had a hard time getting a word in. Anyone that's talking to you, mate, you have a hard time getting a word in.
But if you're just doing 1 hour at a time, and me and you are actually commenting on it.
Yeah.
It's like, pause, we talk when he makes a point. Like he says something.
Okay.
And we comment on it.
No,
then let it play. Then let it play. Then pause, we make a point,
Okay.
So turn an hour-long one into, I don't know, maybe 2-3 hours sort of thing.
Yeah, okay.
The last time I did it myself was with that Rabbi Finkelstein one.
Yeah.
Now that was like a 56-minute interview that I turned into a 4-hour show.
Well, anyway, that's what I'm going to do, and we're going to get back into it tomorrow because I've got to fuck off now. Well, I don't have to, but I've got things to do, and I'll let you have your show back, and I'll have my show back, and I'll contact your. You'll probably see in the chat room later on tonight, and but I got to go and do shit now.
Do you have work tonight, or is this?
No. I have a 3 day.
Start again tomorrow. Okay.
No, well, tomorrow night.
I keep forgetting whether it's like Fridays you work, it's the Sunday you work.
I have a 3-day work. Yeah. 4-day week. I get Monday off. So Monday I'm good. So we'll do the same thing.
I mean, you're still getting enough money each week so that everything's okay.
Yeah.
So you're not stressing about losing a day's work. It's like, yay, I've got an extra day off to do shit.
Yeah, and I'm not saving as much, but you get that.
Oh yeah, well, that's about the only. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, but
it's not putting you behind.
No.
You're no longer getting as far forward as you were.
Yeah. Well, okay, DK. Well, I'm going to shut you down now and finish the show.
All right.
You take care, mate.
Much love, no fear. Dkspiracy, come find me on Rumbel. I do actually have a YouTube channel, but I only upload recorded videos. I actually uploaded some yesterday because I went to the fuel tax protest.
Yeah,
so I did actually upload, one and a bit videos. One was like about 15 minutes and one was just over a minute.
Yeah, but definitely, guys, go visit DK on Rumbel. It's
Rumbel's your best bet to come find me. I stream 24/7 over there. Come find me.
And it's always entertaining, and sometimes you get news. It's edutainment. Sort of thing,
edutainment is what I...
Yeah, sorry, I just I just pressed the button too quick. You gone? Yeah. Well, I fucked up there, but it's okay. Get this going back. No, that's not the one I wanted. Stop sharing. That'll work. Well, folks, that was Sunday Soon 52. Passio. Shadow work. First bit. I'll get on to the next bit tomorrow, and then we'll get DK on, and we'll run through it as we go. So, in the meantime, folks, be good to each other. And I should play some music before I go away, shouldn't I? What do you reckon? Founder's other video. Yes, let's do that. Yes, well, that's sounds quite satanic, doesn't it? I don't really know. Yeah. So sorry, mate. I reckon I did cut you off halfway through a sentence. Sorry, it was just a bad click of the mouse. Sorry about that, mate. But technical issues. Well, folks, till tomorrow. It'll be next bit of Passio and a bit of DK, and we'll have a fucking good chat about important issues. Because, well, issues are important. In the meantime, because remember, I'm not the sharpest knife in the block. A bit like a bread knife. I cut through difficult subject matter. And always leave plenty of crumbs on the board. Be good to each other, folks. That's all that really matters. Cheerio.